Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for the penultimate episode, I guess, the second to last episode of Zombieland Saga. I guess I don't see how they're going to really conclude this in one episode. I mean, I kind of get how they're going to do it, but it really seems like there should probably, or there needs to be a season 2, because they're not going to save Saga in one episode. In one episode, I think they're probably going to do the show in front of 500 people, but they're not going to save Saga yet. A lot of the explanation of what's going on isn't going to be explained yet. They don't have time to do all of that. They only really have time to have Sakura come back around with the rest of Franchushu and then do the final show in front of 500 people. So, yeah, they don't have enough time to achieve what the show was setting out to achieve in one more episode, so I guess it does have to have a season 2. And a lot of times, original anime don't necessarily get second seasons, but MAPPA usually does multiple seasons for some of their things in sci games, so I could totally see it happening, especially with this not being a flop. If it was a flop, maybe they'd be like, okay, we left it open for a second season, but maybe we shouldn't do it. But no, this has been really popular from what I've seen, just in general anime communities, just both Japanese fans and overseas fans, not just American, but all seem to really have received it pretty well, and it's relatively popular as far as the season goes. And in my personal opinion, it's the best anime this season, possibly this entire year. So, I guess I'm 2 minutes in, haven't even gotten into the episode. But yeah, those were my thoughts. I feel like it needs a season 2 already, just because there's no way they're wrapping all this up in just one episode. But starting to talk about episode 11, let's go through it from start to finish before giving some more general thoughts. Starting from the beginning with the opening, it feels like there were some new sound effects there that were used. I don't know why. The second to last episode, they just threw in more sound effects, but maybe I didn't notice them before until now. I don't know. Seemed like there were new ones. So I love the beginning scenes. The beginning scenes are the best, where Sakura is kind of having her re-waking up and going through the same actions that she took in the first episode, except that the actions that the other characters took were different, which I think is really cool. I was particularly funny when she picks up the thing, the fire poker or whatever that she stabbed her with the first time. I freaking out over it was great. But Sakura knows who Ai is. We kind of already got that she was a fan of her. And it turns out I was kind of right. It wasn't like some crazy shot in the dark. It isn't like I did anything impressive by guessing it. But it turns out I was right about her also forgetting about Franchushu in addition to getting her old memories back. So Kotaro is away while this is all going on. We still don't quite know the reason why, so hopefully we might not even figure that out next episode. That might be something left for the second season. But he's away for right now, and we learn about Sakura as a character. She has a real failure complex. A real complex of saying that every time she tries it doesn't work out, so she should stop trying because she's basically a failure. And I think a good story that they told throughout this episode was the story of the problems that Ai is facing. We kind of saw the other girls faced very similar problems, but Ai is so focused on her own problems and her own failures that she isn't seeing anyone else. She isn't seeing how they've overcome their past problems. Even when they could say the same thing that she did, they were doing something and then it got taken away from them by circumstance. They were working for something and then it was taken away from them. Basically every character whose past we've seen, we can say that about them. Saki was trying to make her gang the biggest and defeat that other gang, and then through mostly circumstance ended up dying. That one is probably the least circumstantial of them all. Mizuno Ai was trying to reach the top, working really hard with Iron Frill, and she, the most random, gets struck by lightning. Lily was working super hard to make it in the TV industry, and through a combination of overworking herself and her issues as a trans girl, both of those things compounded to again, sort of chance take away everything she'd been working for. And I guess we didn't really get to see deeply into Junko's past, but we can probably say the same thing about Junko. Also, I'm just now realizing we're probably not getting a Tai backstory. Or a Yugiri one. So yeah, we need a season 2. I need to know what the hell's up with Tai and Yugiri. So yeah, Sakura has problems that are similar to what all the other girls have had, but she's so focused on her own problems she can't see others. But we'll get into that, because I feel like Kotaro kind of said that in a speech too. But that's the main story of the episode. So Kotaro is with a guy who says he owes Yugiri a lot, and we're alluded to he's lived a long time, so he's probably a zombie as well. Maybe he has all the makeup and stuff. But the picture in the background was of a museum. I believe it's the one in Saga. Is it the Kufuku? No, not Kufuku, the Jofuku Museum. I'm pretty sure the Kufuku is something different. But either way, the Jofuku Museum, to sort of a revered figure in Japanese folklore, the Chinese Zufu, I believe he is, who went to Japan from China in search of the secret to immortality, which, I mean, is totally one of those things that if I were born like even just 300 years in the past, I'd totally be Ponce de Leoning it, searching for that fountain of youth, because that is very, very tempting. But apparently in the Zombieland Saga universe, he, or at least somebody who is a reference to him, has found the secret to making people into zombies and has helped Kotaro do it for some reason. We don't know why. We don't know what the big plan is, but the big plan behind the Zombieland Saga project. Because it seems like there might be more to it than just saving Saga, or an important reason why they need to save Saga. So there's still a lot to learn that I, again, don't think we're going to be learning in just one more episode. It feels really weird that this is in episode 11. It doesn't quite feel like it's in episode 11. Then from all of that, we have everyone sad for a bit about Sakura, then all going to bed, and they each try one by one to make her come to her senses. Saki tries first. It was really good having her be angry and have her not really be able to quite show her feelings as friends with Sakura, even though she really wants to. Then we have Junko, who easily gets shut down. We have Lily, and Lily's star is real. It is like dangerous. It appears to be really heavy and really sharp because it just stabbed through the floor really easily, and it sounds metallic when they're passing it around and stuff. So yeah, Lily is very, very dangerous. Then we have Yugiri. All the pomp and circumstance was really funny, especially she reaches the top finally, and then Sakura's not even there anymore. All that was really good. We then learn about Sakura's backstory. It is a little bit underwhelming, but I think it's good because, again, it's telling that story. Like I said, it's the story of someone who keeps working for something, and then through mostly circumstance, mostly things that weren't even her fault, all that she's been working for gets taken away. And again, it's very easy to compare that to Lily's story, where circumstance took all this stuff she was working so hard for away, and who, again, circumstance took all this stuff away. Saki, I guess you can kind of argue that, but Saki was more like, she had the guts. She doesn't break. So that is kind of what caused Saki's death. So maybe you can't say it quite the same for Saki. But that's basically the general story they're telling here. And again, with Kotaro's speech in the end, it all comes around. But I'm getting ahead of myself some more. So from there, what else did we have? Another thing that was good about her backstory is that even back then she couldn't see that she was doing the same thing, because we saw that there were people saying you should do this or you should do that because you're good at it. But she was so down on herself that she couldn't see how good she was at stuff because, I don't know, I guess it is I don't know if imposter complex is the right term, but sort of a perfectionist issue where she has her goal set on this one thing, and no matter how good she gets at running because she practiced so much, or how good she gets at academics because she practiced so much, because she failed or didn't do good or got taken out of the one certain thing, she kind of forgets all the progress that she's made, even though even though she couldn't participate in the sports festival, she was really good at running now, and she could have done any sort of sports team, is the point. And she studied a lot. She could do a lot academically, even if she didn't get into the school she wanted to. But she was so down on her failures that she didn't see all of her successes. But then we have Favaro Cup. Amazing to see him again. And Romero and Kotaro showing up. Romero was adorable. But I think that Kotaro had a really good speech when he was talking about the forest and the points of light, and now she can't see it. It's kind of, I felt like it was alluding to her being like, all the other girls have similar stories, but you can't see it because you're focused on your own. Or you're good at all these things, but you can't see it because you're only focusing on the negatives. You're only focusing on what you've messed up on. So again, all of that I thought was really good storytelling, and at the end it was kind of cliff-hung by him saying he's not going to give up on her, which I thought was great when he acted like he was going to leave, and then he showed up and he's like, "Are you stupid? I'm not just going to walk away unless you sulk like this." That was really good. Not a fan of cliffhangers in general and the way this one was done, but So, thoughts on it as a whole now that we've done the summary or rundown. I thought the early scenes were great. The ones that juxtaposed what Sakura did in the first episode compared to this episode, and all the other characters around her were the difference. They were acting differently. I thought that was really good. But, oh yeah, because she even trips over the same ones and stuff. It's just that they react differently to being tripped over or stepped on or whatever. So, yeah, it's really, really good. I loved those opening scenes. I do think that Sakura's past is a little bit underwhelming, but that's not really a big deal because it isn't like... Lily's past got me really emotional because the relationship between her and her father was so well written. But generally, none of their pasts have been super duper sad. And there was a lot of comedy played in a lot of their pasts in the way they died. So I think her past being underwhelming really isn't that big a deal. But considering all the theories and all the discussion about people trying to guess what was up with Sakura's past, in comparison to that, yeah, maybe it's a little underwhelming. I can see that. So yeah, I constantly felt like every scene I was watching, I was like, this is a good scene, but it would have been so much better if they did this. So I guess that's my qualm with the episode, is that I thought it was great, but I'm used to even better stuff, where I'm like, when she was talking to all the different girls and they were all trying to cheer her up or get her to come back to her senses or whatever, I felt like they could have done a lot more with that. Her speech with Kotaro, again, it was really good, but I felt like they could do more with it. And that's just a constant feeling I had throughout the episode. And then at the very end, like I said, I'm just not a big fan of cliffhangers or how it was done. I feel like they should have just ended off that scene as best they could so that we could start the next episode with maybe the day of the performance or something. And we would know what we were getting into. We would know exactly what we were getting into. So I would still give it 9 dangerous stars. 9 dangerous stars out of 10. Because I did still think it was great. I thought there were funny moments. I thought there was good character writing, especially the stuff towards the beginning. I thought was really, really good. And I thought it was kind of funny. It was kind of feelsy. But I do think other episodes have done the comedy and the feel stuff better. So yeah, I really, really did enjoy it. Like I've enjoyed essentially every episode of this show. But it's not my favorite episode. I would compare it to, and this seems like a very bad or negative comparison, so maybe I shouldn't, but I would compare it to, that overplayed trope in movies that basically everyone I've ever talked to about movies absolutely hates, where we have this story with all the characters, and then bam, some misunderstanding or fluke or whatever happens, and all the characters get all sad and mopey for like 15 minutes or so before finally coming back together for the climax of it, and everybody hates it because it's just a waste of 10-15 minutes of all the characters being mopey over some circumstance that could be easily solved by them just talking it out. I feel like this was that. This was that part of the Zombieland Saga movie, so to speak. It's definitely not that negative, and it's a pretty negative thing to compare it to, but it's like Sakura losing her friend Shushu memories was that circumstance where it feels like if they really talked it out, they could work it out a lot easier. but it leads us into them moping around for an episode. So I did still think it was great, but I could compare it to that. And I did think it could have been better. So yeah, if you did like the video, guess that's it. And we'll be back for the review next week of the last episode. And if/when there's a season 2, we'll review season 2. But I don't know, it just feels like the series is ending at an odd place. There's still so much we haven't learned. There's still so much the characters haven't done. But I guess that's a good thing, because it means there's a lot of content that can be there for a second season. So, I guess that's that. But either way, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode, or what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Zombieland Saga, much more on the channel. I'm going to do my video discussing what I'll watch next season and what I'll review next season, or what I think I'll review next season. I'll probably do that maybe next weekend. I'm not sure when's a good time for it, because I want to give it... I don't want it to be too soon before the season actually starts, so I can be sure to have the video out before the next season actually starts. But at the same time, I don't want to do it too early, because I know there's probably still trailers and PVs and stuff for things that haven't come out yet that would sway my decisions on whether or not I'm watching stuff. So I'm not sure when I'll do that, but I'm thinking maybe next weekend. And what I'm thinking already, Minaria Friends turns out it's going to be a short form, so I don't know if I'm reviewing that anymore, but I do feel like I'm still going to be reviewing Fukigen no Mononoke and second season, and obviously The Promised Neverland, because I love the manga. So, yeah. I said comment, subscribe, I guess. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel, or talk to you there. And if you want a link to the Discord server to talk to me or more of us about Zombieland Saga or anything else there, then just ask. Discord's free and open for anyone. So yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.